Hello, everyone, and welcome to Marvel-ous Movie Mondays. My voice is a little lower today because it is earlier when we're recording this, opposed to later, which we usually do. But I'm joined with one of my closest friends, Kelsey Kilpatrick. How you doing, Kels? Fresh off the Joe Bros concert. How you doing?
Fresh off the Joe Bros concert, and my dog is already barking at my door.
That's
I
fine.
literally told my parents, I'm like, keep the dog away from my room. They're
He
coming
is
up
the
to get him.
watcher. He will not interfere. Don't worry.
He's the
Um,
watcher, and he interferes every day, every
if
morning.
as
He
long
wakes
as
me up.
it's not it's not interfering with the podcast. It would only interfere with your attention and your focus. But a lot of stuff going on right now. I mean, What If just ended, so we're here to talk about the last two episodes. We got Eternals on the horizon. We just had Venom last week. Go check out our review in the top
hmm
right corner. We also saw um yeah, like you said before we got on air, Comic Con's happening now. Nothing to really talk about there, but um, yeah, I mean, we said our year goal now will be to be at Comic Con next year. Should be a fun goal. Um, so Kelsey, do you have any news for this week?
Well, I didn't look too much into it because there really wasn't a ton of information, but
Right,
Scarlett Johansson and Disney settled their lawsuit.
they did.
So
Yeah,
I think in legal terms, when you settle, it just means that Disney was like, "All right, we agree," kind of thing.
yeah. I think this was the good move. I mean, obviously, we
Mhm.
said we'd track this lawsuit as it went along because we thought it was going to get a lot juicier, but it didn't. And I think it's because it's Disney. They don't want to
Yeah.
make themselves look bad.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
vice versa. I don't think Scarlett wants to go so far out of her way to make herself look bad either, even though I don't think it did. Um, yeah, but the lawsuit's settled. So we'll see what that means going forward now because it seems like she's all in to do more projects. But I don't know what projects those would be, but we'll certainly find out.
We'll
Um,
find out for sure.
is there something you'd like to see her do next, like kind of like a what if thing where it's like an anthology, or would you like to see her
Mm.
do maybe a Black Widow 2? I don't know where you could squeeze it in, but
I mean, I'm always open to the idea of Natasha still being a part of the MCU.
yeah,
The fact that Black Widow was probably her last project, really makes me sad. Honestly, it's a tougher loss, I feel, more so than, like, RDJ leaving
yeah,
because, like, he really had, like, a good run in
yeah,
the MCU.
yeah.
Even
He
though
got
they
three movies to himself. Yeah,
exactly. It's like,
right, right,
Natasha deserves the same amount of respect, and
yeah,
you know what? I loved what they did with Natasha's character in What If, in these What If episodes. It
yeah.
makes me even more sad that it's not Scarlett Johansson at the
I know,
helm, you know what I mean?
I know. But I will say, I know we're gonna get to the review later, but I was a fan of her this episode. Like, I'm counting it. They are two episodes, but they do kind of feel like one longer big finale with the two of them combined because they do kind of segue into one another.
Mhm.
But she was actually probably the strongest of the voice actors that weren't original cast members, which I liked, and I
Mhm.
think that's why she was the one um, who was the one with the group rather than like RDJ or something like that, which we'll get to. Um, my news: we are getting an Agatha Harkness series, according to Disney. Well, according to Variety, who says according to Disney. I mean, I don't know how much is confirmed, but I think fresh off that Emmy loss, they're like, hey, we need to get her that win. So let's make our own spin-off series. Because she really is a joy to watch, and there's really no other places you can put her in the MCU unless you do like a series
Mm.
of her back when she was like in the Salem days. Like, I'd like to see that because
Yeah,
most
I'm thinking,
MCU
like,
is present day.
is it gonna be like an origin series?
I have no idea. I mean, I'd assume it's before the whole thing that happens. Um, it might lead up right to where WandaVision starts. That's my guess,
Mm.
but I don't know. I mean, it would be very exciting to see. Obviously, we love Catherine Hahn. We love that role. It would hopefully bring us more music, more songs, which is fun. Um, but yeah, thoughts on that, Kels?
That's super exciting. I saw that. Okay, so there's this one TikToker. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know his name or his account name, but he reports like a lot of things that are like rumors and speculation, but he reports them as if they're facts.
Mm,
So I saw it on his page and I was like, I don't trust this guy because a lot of what he says is not accurate. So I'm excited that that's going to turn out to be a real thing, the real deal.
yeah, I mean, some reliable like actual news sources have said it, so I assume it's good to go. Like we get the all clear, but anything can happen. Obviously people have lawsuits sometimes, and sometimes people just have other projects they book. You never know.
Yeah.
um but let's talk about what if, because we have two episodes to talk about, but we're going to kind of just talk about them as one because like I said, they kind of do segue into one another. But Kelsey, you can give the synopsis for one now and one later, or you can do both
Sure.
right now, just kind of like as one big finale. But we are covering episodes, what is it, 8 and 9? 8 and 9.
Yeah. 8 and
Cool.
9.
All right, tell us
Episode
about it.
8, what if Ultron won? So we got a
All right.
little taste of Vision Ultron in the Thor episode that we got. So this one's like all about him now.
Mm-hmm.
So after killing all human life, Clint and Natasha seek out ways to stop Ultron.
There you go. And then, maybe do we want to just transition into the next one too, synopsis wise, or do we want to just kind of talk about this one first? Just because, like I said, they do feel like kind of one big episode because I
Yeah,
watched them back to
exactly.
back too. So it's like, mm,
Why don't we start with this one first?
okay,
You know?
yeah, yeah. And then when we get to the ending, we'll segue into your description for that. What did you think of this one? Because this one did feel very much like it was setting up something bigger, which it obviously
Hmm.
was.
Yeah.
Um,
Almost
but
like an Infinity War setting up Endgame.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, because it's the villain is the center of the piece.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. What do you think?
Well, the first thing I have to say about this is that and I'm desperately looking on IMDb, um, right now to find out who it was because it was so evidently not James Spader doing the voice of Ultron, and it's
Yeah,
such a that was a really sad loss. I
yeah,
think
you
that
love
is
him.
the
Yeah, you love that
love
voice
him, we
acting
love
performance.
I loved Ultron, he was so high in my villain ranking, and it was really because, James Spader,
You
he
said
helped.
hot, and I thought you were gonna say so hot, and I was like, Kels, do you have a thing for robots? And like, I was like, that's
Oh
weird.
my god,
You go,
imagine, I'm like, Ultron is so hot.
well, that's what I thought you were saying, and then I heard the high, not the hot, but that was funny. I was like,
No.
Kelsey, what?
Ultron, he doesn't really do it for me
Yeah, no, I
when it
hope
comes to
so.
our villains. If we did like a hotness rating, Ultron would not be up there.
Yeah, it would be
Maybe
hella.
top 20,
Hella is
maybe
number
not
one.
top.
Hella is number one,
All
I'd
right.
say.
I'm going to go off right on the bat here and say that Eric Killmonger is definitely number 1.
You can
Definite
make a
number.
case.
I mean, Michael B. Jordan, man. Look at it.
Yeah.
Look at him. And then a
Scary.
very close number 2 is it's got to be Loki, right? And not even
Yeah.
like Tom Hiddleston, like Loki.
I was gonna say though, like, is Loki a villain anymore? Would we ever
He
include
was
him
in
in a
our
villain?
villains ranking.
Right, because that was pre Loki, where he was still kind of like villain.
Yeah,
But
that's
anyway,
true.
um, but yeah, James Spader just brings such a natural, just eeriness, and just
Yeah.
like his voice is just so resonant. Like I did miss that. Um,
Mhm.
yeah,
It
because it.
uh,
Yeah, yeah,
it was just
I missed it.
that was the one where I was like, "Oh, this is the biggest missing piece, I think, when it comes
Yeah.
to all the recasts." It was
Hmm.
this one. I don't know.
Because
So
he's also
he's
such a central part of the episode. It's not like he has one
exactly.
little line, another little line. Even like Natasha, like she didn't talk the whole time. It was her and Clint. Whereas him, it's just like
No, yeah, for
I
sure.
am what I am.
So Ultron is not voiced by James Spader, but he is voiced by Ross Mark Marquand.
Ross Marquand. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you
So
know him?
he is on The Walking Dead. He's a big star. He's also a big voice actor, and
Mm.
he's the guy who replaced Hugo Weaving as Red Skull. He plays Red Skull in Infinity War and Endgame. So
Oh.
he's that's surprising because he didn't do a James. So he must have just done his own thing rather than doing a
Yeah.
James Spader impression, because he can probably do a really good James Spader impression. That's interesting. Yeah, Ross Marquand. He's yeah.
Yeah, he's,
I know who that is.
he
Okay,
was Ultron. So,
interesting. Hmm.
basically, I loved how we throughout this episode, we followed just Clint and Natasha. We kinda saw it through their eyes. Clint was
Mhm.
missing an arm. Do we know
Yeah.
why he was missing an arm? Did I
Do we
just
know why?
completely miss that?
I missed it, so I guess it was just not said.
Because like, I'm
Was
trying to think back because I'm like, "Okay, we have to, like, rewind the MCU, take us all the way back to Age of Ultron," because everything that happened after Age of Ultron doesn't end up happening. Like, Civil War didn't happen because they didn't know about You know what I'm saying? Because
He
Ultron
definitely didn't
won.
lose an arm in the movies, like, in the live action movies. I was
No,
just
yeah.
thinking maybe in What If at an earlier point, but
Maybe
I don't think this is supposed to be in any sort of
no.
same universe as any other What If episodes. That's why
No, I
it's
don't think it's in the
confusing.
what if episodes. I'm trying to think that, like, maybe because Ultron won, he he lost an arm. I don't know why, but he's armless. He also has the invisibility cloak in the beginning, evidently. He's just able to shield himself, make himself invisible, and that's how he's taken out all, like, the
The one thing
androids,
with
all the robots.
the one thing with What If that I've realized is, like, why can't they just use these powers in real life? Like, he has the visibility cloak here, like, friggin' Ultron when he literally slices Thanos in half. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
why couldn't Vision just do that before?
That moment.
It
When did
really
that
is.
happen in this episode or the next one?
It did. It happens right at the beginning of this one because this is where he gets all the Infinity Stones.
Oh, yeah, I wrote it down. Ultron just slices Thanos in half. So, like, what do you think about moments like that when you're just like, really, that's all that had to be done?
That's
Or,
well, it's fun from a viewer's perspective, but as
sure.
a analytical thinker in the MCU, I'm like, well, that would have been a lot more effective than all that went down in two movies. Well, because we see how easily his head gets cut off in Endgame, and it's like, yeah, no, he's
Mhm.
beatable. It's just you got to aim for the head, and
He's
that's the whole
beatable.
thing.
It's just he's significantly less beatable when he has all of the Infinity Stones.
He had all the stones though when
I
Ultron got
know,
him.
I
That's
know.
what's
But I think
frustrating.
Ultron definitely doesn't think the same way that Vision does. That's what makes them different.
Right.
So Vision
Because
was probably not
Vision would wanna reason with him first and maybe, like,
right.
sit down with a cup of coffee and be like, "Listen, like, let's talk about your life," and not Ultron where it's
There's a
like
better way to make life across the galaxy better than to just erase half existence.
right. Well, yeah, and that's, like, the whole T'Challa Killmonger thing as well, like,
Right.
there's ways to go about achieving the same thing. Um, yeah, so, yeah, I liked that moment because it was like, "Ooh, cool, we saw Thanos sliced in half." It's like the Ant-Man theory that we brought up, like, if Ant-Man could just crawl inside Thanos and just blow himself up from the inside, everything would be okay. Because I watched The Matrix for the first time
Mhm.
with my good buddy Landon, you know him, and his girlfriend Jessie, and he Neo does that in the Matrix. He goes literally inside someone and blows them up from the inside. So I was like, they could
That's
have done that in the MCU. It would have been a lot easier to get rid of Thanos that way.
yeah, but I feel like that would have been such an unsatisfying ending. It's funny to think about, but if Ant-Man had actually done that,
Right.
I would have been like, "Ew, that's kinda gross." And that's
Just
also kinda what Hope does in the zombie episode. She
exactly.
expands
No, yeah.
herself in Sharon Carter, and that's
That's
how
why I was like, why not just do it in the movies that we need to do that for? But it's okay. It's me being funny and rather just like trying to find a fault rather than like actually just embracing what we have.
sure, yeah.
Um,
He doesn't just take down Thanos, though. He takes down another mighty hero.
yeah,
He's able to just, like, take out Captain Marvel. As
yeah.
soon as I saw her, I was like, "Ah, Ultron's fucked." Like, he's not gonna be able to take on Captain Marvel, like, look at her. And
hmm
then, no, he just totally just explodes the entire planet that
Yeah,
they're inside of.
I think it's because Thanos was just like a lot of brute strength, and then he got all the stones on top of that. Whereas
Mhm.
Ultron had brute strength and this, and I think that's the difference. Is he had like the
Yeah,
all those cyber kinetic like powers that now you add the stones on top of, and he's near impossible. And obviously, the most exciting moment is when he actually breaks that fourth wall into the multiverse and approaches the Watcher. And I think that's where I was like, because the whole episode I was like, all
yeah.
right, this is interesting, but that moment I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Because this whole time we've thought, like each episode's like its own little story, but now it's like, oh no, he's stepping into like the meta fourth wall of it all. Um, and taking on the Watcher. What do you think of that like whole choice, and then kind of how that affected the rest of the series, pretty much?
I thought that it was interesting how, like, the series, this seemingly what was going to be an anthology series, kinda took on its own side plot.
Right.
And how the watcher actually got involved. I actually can't tell if I love that or hate that because I kind of would
hmm
have just preferred him to be like this, like omnipotent being that didn't get involved.
Nice
But
word. Nice word.
it took me a second to get there. You see, I like stuttered a little bit before I said it because
Yeah.
I
No, but
was
you
like,
got there.
"Thank you," because I was getting confused between that word and the other word that I can't say.
Ominous.
Yes.
Hmm.
And I was like, it's not that word. It's omnipotent.
I found an easier way to say ominous if you can't do it.
Okay.
Say ramen,
Ramen.
like ramen noodles, and then ramen is. So like ramen is, and then just get rid of the R. Ominous.
Raminous. Ominous.
There it is.
Did I say it?
Yeah, ominous. Yeah, there it is.
Well,
So
where
just
was that energy senior year of high
uh,
school, Dale?
it went to New York and got more cultured and ate more ramen. That's what it did. Um,
Gotcha. That's what
but
did
yeah,
it.
Kelsey, this whole Watcher thing, like talk about it because it's very exciting to see like this break or the fourth wall. But you seem a little bit more hesitant.
Well, I think it's definitely for sure interesting.
Hmm.
I like I said, I can't tell whether or not I wanted which the series, which way to go,
Right.
how they were going to have a grand finale to this series. I actually wasn't expecting a grand finale. I was just
No.
expecting, another what if one shot and then it was just going to be over. So the
Well, that's
fact
why I
that
was.
it did
Yeah,
end this way.
that's why I was like, I don't know. I was like, why would you put zombies in the middle? Why wouldn't you say that for the
Mhm.
end? But now it makes sense.
Yeah. But honestly, like I spoiler alert, I loved episode 9. I was really into episode 9, so I was
Yeah.
like, "You know what? I I think I'm into this. I think I can get behind this like Watcher, Nick Fury kind of character who's collecting the different Avengers from
Yeah.
different multiverses."
Hmm.
But I
My
did
only
yeah.
my only thing is that
No,
like
go ahead.
we got it in Spider Verse, we're getting it again in the MCU with like Doctor Strange confirmed. It's like
Mhm.
how many times are we gonna do a multiverse? Like there, I feel like there needs to be one definitive one. What else?
Yeah.
What are you laughing about?
No, I'm just laughing because I wrote the same thing. At
Yeah,
the
it's
end
like
of I literally wrote so this series was all about Doctor Strange saving the multiverse. The multiverse and then I did dot 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 the multiverse of madness question mark.
yeah, I
I
don't know.
said the
And then
same thing.
that makes me think: is Multiverse of Madness just a live action iteration of this? Like, are we gonna see like Haley Atwell as Captain Carter? Are we gonna like? I really don't know because it's like,
I don't
I,
know. I think they'd have to do something completely different because we can't be expecting this, right? The
right,
whole thing about the MCU is that we always get the unexpected.
yeah, but at this point, it's like I feel like they now are kind of caught in a rut where they're like, we're just gonna do multiverse stuff now, and it's like,
Yeah.
and we've seen with like Shang Chi and what we're hopefully gonna see with Eternals is that you can still just tell these normal stories just in this
Mhm.
universe. It doesn't all have to be like crazy multiverse. Like you can make one thing the multiverse thing. Is it what if?
Mhm.
Is it Loki? Is it Doctor Strange stuff? What is it?
It's
Because
like
now every single thing is multiverse.
yeah. It's like we
Ugh,
haven't even seen the 2 major movies that touch on the multiverse, Spider-Man: No Way Home and obviously Doctor Strange 2,
I didn't even think
and
of
they're
Spider Man
already
yet.
beating the dead horse, you know?
Yeah,
It's like I already
exactly.
feel like they're beating a dead horse, and we didn't even get there yet. We didn't
It
even
was
get to the 2 big ones.
if Spider Verse hadn't come out in 2018 and been such a hit, won that Oscar, like I would have been more like, okay, yeah, cool, give me more multiverse. But like that was done so well that I'm like,
Mhm.
Marvel deciding to go this route, like Marvel Studios, like the movies going this route now. It's like, or the MCU, yeah, like going this route after they had just done it so perfectly. It's like, just let that be it, you know? Like
Mhm.
I don't know, we'll see. I'm excited for more,
Honestly
but like I hope this is like a temporary. This might be like a post pandemic. Let's go in the multiverse, and then like 2022 we'll be back with, or like late 2022 we'll be back with just your regular programming.
regularly
Um,
scheduled program.
right. I don't know.
Honestly, I think that they kinda set themselves up for, like, destruction almost with Infinity War and Endgame. Like now everything that they do, I feel like they're going to have to try to top those 2 films. And it's like, how do you
Yeah.
do that? Like how do you come up with a villain bigger than Thanos and badder than Thanos, you know?
And it's like, yeah, exactly. Like Endgame felt like a series finale. Like it really did feel like the end. And like I get
Mhm.
Spider-Man Far From Home being like that one last epilogue just to mourn Tony Stark and honor what he was. But now it's like now I wish they would just do all like one-offs and then like one more big Avengers movie, maybe in like 5 years where you bring the team back together again. But now it's
Mm.
just obviously I hope I'm proven wrong, but it just seems a little bit yeah, like they're trying to top what they already did rather than just kind of like going back to basics. And I
Yeah.
think Shang-Chi was a good, like, let's go back to basics. And even
Mhm.
Black Widow, which you loved a lot more than I did, but like I thought it was at least nice to just kind of tell its own story. It didn't have to
Mhm.
be an Avengers film, even though it did tie itself into the Avengers at the end, which I thought was the weakest part. So like I hope we get more Shang-Chi's and less of the multiverse going forward. I
And the
hope,
other Yeah,
yeah.
and the other challenging thing about Endgame is that every movie now going forward has to not mention it, not be directly connected, but it kinda does in a way because you can't just come out with a movie now that in in no relation was affected by the events of Endgame. Like, they brought
Right.
back the second half of the population. Like, if they were to come out with a movie that made no references to Tony Stark or Endgame or the Avengers or anything, it would feel kind of off and it would feel kind of out of place. Like, even we see in the Eternals trailer, like, they answer a lot of our questions that we have about the Eternals right off the bat. They're like,
Mhm.
we couldn't intervene in Endgame because we were told to only get involved when it had to do with the deviants, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's fine. Like, I like that. It's like its own
Mhm.
thing. Yeah, especially because it is already a big team.
Yeah,
But we get obviously, yeah, the Watcher standoff with Ultron. Then he goes to Doctor Strange. So I think there's a good time to segue into the next episode,
sure.
where we do get the Guardians of the Multiverse. That's what I would call this episode if it wasn't just the same what if.
2 things I wanna say, though, about
Formula. Yeah.
episode 8, though, before we move on, is
Hmm.
that, you know, I really liked episode 8. I liked the plot of it a lot, which is, like,
Hmm.
strange to say because it's like that's the most basic thing to enjoy, but I really did like the plot. Like, I could almost see it being like, I totally would have watched that movie,
Yeah.
about, like, Clint and Natasha, like, trying to bring everyone back, and a lot of, there was 2 things that I really liked about, when they're going back to find Dr. Zola, like, his programming that, Natasha remembers from the events of Winter Soldier. She knows that his mind is uploaded in the database. That's how they, take down Ultron. Spoiler alert. Um, so they're in like the Siberia where the Winter Soldiers are being kept in
Hmm.
Civil War, except obviously Civil War didn't happen, so they don't know that. They have to discover that location on their own. And we kind of get this scene between Clint and Natasha where Clint is ready to sacrifice himself. He's ready to take the fall, the leap of faith, if you will, so that Natasha can go on with Dr. Zola, who's now been downloaded into one of the androids, and I just loved how we got this mirroring scene of basically what happened on Vormir, except the
Yeah.
roles were reversed.
Except
And
this is the more satisfying thing for
the more
Kelsey, and they
satisfying end for
unfortunately
sure.
saved it for this what if rather than the real thing. Yep.
Yeah. So it was just super interesting. And I just thought that it was kind of selfish for Clint to be like, I told you, like, I don't wanna fight anymore, and, like, he makes, like, the grand sacrifice. I'm like, "But now you're leaving Natasha, like, alone on this deserted planet. She's literally the only human life left." And I was just like, I feel like they would wanna, like, fight together just for the sake of each other, if not anything else. I was like, "That kinda sucks." Even the way Clint can never do anything right in my eyes, essentially, because even the way he sacrifices himself for Nat, I'm like, "Why would you do that?" Because now you're leaving your best friend alone, and it's like, what if like, she's
Mhm.
gonna live out the rest of her days just until she dies? Like, like, what are you
Yeah.
doing, man?
I don't know.
And there were a lot of in these past 2 episodes, I noticed there were a lot of more, like, stylistic shots than in the other episodes, I feel. Like, there's this great shot of, like, Clint falling with, like I think, like, one of the arrows had just been released, and he was, like, falling, like, with it, and we just got this, like, nice wide shot of that. And, yeah, I just
Yeah.
wanted to point that out because that
Yeah, I
was,
mean,
like I think that was, like, my favorite scene in the
great
episode.
visuals, obviously. I mean,
Yeah,
the
really cool
visuals,
visuals.
the visuals this whole series, because if we're kind of looking at the series as a whole, have been probably the highlight for me. Just seeing what they could do with the animation style, it's very exciting. So moving on to this next episode, Kels, tell us your
Oh,
little
I also have an
synopsis.
Easter egg.
Yeah.
I'm so
Oh yeah,
sorry.
please. No, it's good.
When Ultron and, the Watcher are fighting, they're, like every punch they, like, get put into, like, a different multiverse,
Hmm.
and we see one shot of them, they're in Manhattan, and there seems to be a Steve Rogers being sworn into office in the background, and
Oh,
I was
I didn't
like,
even pick up on that.
President Steve Rogers?" You can just hear
Mhm.
him, like, he's like, "Ah" that's what I think he's doing, but
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he's got the whole hand on the Bible thing and the armories, and he's like, "I, Stephen Grant Rogers, swear to," like, whatever. So I'm like, "Oh my god, are they swearing Steve Rogers into office right now?" Because I would so get behind a President Rogers. He
yeah.
would do great things for our
Season
nation.
two, season two, 'cause season two is happening, so we'll see.
Yeah,
Which is
hopefully.
interesting considering this felt very much like an ending, but we'll get there.
So, episode 9, what if the Watcher oh my god, I didn't write the whole name. I'm
What
such
if
an
the
idiot.
Watcher interfered, right, or
No,
something
no,
like that,
what if
or
the
broke his
it's
oath?
broke his oath, yeah,
Yeah.
but I wrote, "What if the Watcher his oath?" And I'm like, what's wrong with me? What if the Watcher broke his oath?" Episode 9, here's my synopsis. Short and simple like the last one was.
Yeah.
In order to defeat Ultron, I almost said Thanos just by, like, force of habit, just by saying that name so much. Okay, anyway. Woo. In order to defeat Ultron, the Watcher recruits heroes from different timelines, making the Guardians of the Multiverse.
Yeah. I thought this was really cool. I mean, we love the
I
team
liked it a
ups.
lot.
I liked it because it was like by Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, you're used to seeing them all team up, but this was different because it's so many different characters. You got Killmonger and Captain Carter and T'Challa, like very different people. Thor, but a very different version of Thor than we're used to seeing. And I liked that a lot. Like I like the team up and I like the Watcher kind of being the Nick Fury, but being a little bit more um I almost said Buddhist.
Like,
Like
yeah, and the word that
tranquil
came
and
to mind was, like,
yeah,
angelic.
like
Being
Zen.
more
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
angelic
yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you think of this episode, Kels? Because you
I
seemed
mean,
to really like it.
I liked it a lot. It had a really cool, like, cold open almost where we see,
Mhm.
like, the events of Winter Soldier playing out, except it's with Captain Carter and, Natasha, and it's so funny because you can tell by Natasha's hair what kind of era we're in, what movie we're in, and when she has kind of the long bob straight hair, and I'm like, "Oh, that is Winter Soldier hair if I've ever seen it." So they're kinda having the same playful conversation that Steve and Nat were having in the beginning of Winter Soldier about, her trying to, like, hook him up with a date, except she's telling, Carter about
Right.
someone in accounting and, obviously she's missing Steve, and in the midst of the big ship battle, she's, recruited by the Watcher, and you said them all, but I'll just read them just in case. So he recruits Captain Carter, he recruits T'Challa from the Ravagers episode, he recruits a Gamora that we haven't seen before in any episode.
Yeah,
He's
that was weird to me. That was like the one where I was like,
yeah, yeah.
"Hmm, okay."
I knew you weren't gonna like that.
No,
Um,
I like Gamora, but I just was like, I wish
I
they'd
just
given us an episode with her before, stripping her out of her universe.
yeah, no, I agree 100%. But I feel like we got everything that we needed to know when he said Gamora, like, destroyer of Thanos,
Mhm.
and
Right,
then
we
we
know
see
what her
her
story is, even if we haven't seen it. Yeah.
exactly. So then he and I loved how she's with Tony Stark, and Tony's like, "Oh, yeah, like, I'm down to help," and he's like, "No, not you. I
Right.
only came for her."
And I think it's because he didn't want Killmonger to see Tony again. I think that's the reason. That's what I thought.
Well, Killmonger and T'Challa are together in this one,
Right,
though.
but I don't think they even really know each other too well. Oh, yeah, they do. Hmm.
Well, he calls him cousin. He's like,
Right.
"Cousin,
Oh,
what are
maybe
you
I don't know
doing?"
then. Yeah, I don't know.
That was
I just thought it
insane.
might have been like if we pull Tony and to Killmonger, there's going to be issues. So I don't know. That's a good thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally wrote down, "Not you, Stark." He takes Eric Killmonger from the Tony Killmonger episode, and he recruits Thor.
There it
Uh,
is.
so Gamora is not voiced by Zoe Saldana, which was evident to me in the beginning, but then as the episode went on, I kind of just got used to it and I just got over it. She is voiced by Cynthia K. McWilliams. That is the voice of
Okay.
Gamora.
And who that was Gamora?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she did fine. I mean, again, like she didn't talk as much as like Ultron in the last episode, so I kind of didn't mind it as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Uh yeah, this was just a really cool episode. I didn't really take too many like bullet points. I only took like things that I found were cool. So essentially, their whole plan is that they need to get the stones because Gamora has a device called like the Stone Destroyer or something.
Which is
So
so cool. Which is
yeah,
really cool. Yeah.
super cool because obviously like that was her whole mission and her timeline was to get rid of Thanos and get rid of the stones so that there's just no temptation into someone wanting to acquire all the stones. So they need to
Right.
get the soul stone from Ultron so they can destroy the rest of the stones. And uh obviously the first person that he recruited was actually evil, quote unquote evil Doctor Strange. And he actually comes in clutch in this episode. He's
Oh yeah.
able to cast a lot of protection spells on them, so all the times where they really should have, you know, bitten the dust,
Right.
they're protected.
Yeah, and I think it's almost like kind of the Hulk thing where he's kind of learned how to control the stuff inside him,
Mhm.
or Venom even, um, to
Yeah.
where he's kind of able to be a more of a leader rather than the last time we saw him where he was just a mess. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely think that he used like this moment to kind of seek redemption for
Yeah.
himself almost because he's like, well, I destroyed my whole planet. It's just me there. So, you know
Right.
what? I'm actually going to have some fun with this.
Yeah.
I have some Easter eggs. Oh yeah, then that happens. Oh my. Okay, so my favorite part and simultaneously my least favorite part was when Doctor Strange got uh got all the zombies from the zombie episode, and they
Oh, you
just kind
didn't
of like
like that?
rain hellfire. No, I liked it. And then when we saw Scarlet Witch again, I was like, oh, I literally wrote down in my notes, Baba Yaga. I was like, yes, she's back.
Yep.
And then I was like, also waiting to see Hulk. Could you imagine a zombified Hulk? I really
Yeah.
wanted to see that.
Oh, Zombie
Anyway,
Hulk. There's season
but
2. Like all these things we could like just put like a asterisk and be like season 2. Make it
I
happen.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I almost wish he recruited Peter from the zombie episode.
Oh, Peter Parker. Yeah, I thought you
Peter
were saying
Parker.
Peter Quill from the T'Challa episode. I was like, nah, nope,
No,
we're
no,
good.
no, no, no. No, I'm good. I don't need that. I just would have liked to see a Peter Parker from the zombies episode. I
Yeah,
feel like
maybe
that would have been really fun.
maybe the Watcher has some remorse and he's like, I don't want to put a kid through that. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe,
We'll
but
see.
like I just feel like he was, like the the unsung hero of that episode, you know.
Yeah,
He
for
really
sure.
kept his wits about him and
True.
was able to be some semblance of a leader. So,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
He was the main
I
character
would
of
have
that for sure.
you know how I feel about Peter Parker, so
Of course.
that's the only cog I was missing in this machine. Um, and then we saw some oh my god, Doctor Strange ate something, and I thought for a second he just swallowed the soul stone. He was just like, "This is mine now."
Yeah,
But
no, he
I
did
I
not.
don't know what it was that he ate, but it was not the soul stone because then I followed up underneath my note, "No, he didn't." We saw a cool time stone versus time stone moment during the final battle where Ultron kind of froze all of them, but then evil Doctor Strange using his time stone was able to, set everything back into motion. I just like
Hmm.
really, really like this. And you know why I like this episode?
Why, Kels?
The ending for Natasha.
Yeah, Natasha had a good ending. I mean,
She finally got like a almost this happy ending.
yeah, and I liked the meta ending. I liked how it was like
Mhm.
she kind of confronted it like you just watch us. Like, what are we
Mhm.
entertainment to you? Are you eating popcorn while watching this? And I like
Mhm.
that because it's like it does make it the series feel like more than just an anthology series. It makes it feel like there's actually a relationship with this watcher and the characters within it, even though it wasn't going full fledged like mini series. Like every episode, it's tying to something bigger. I'd like to go back now and watch it again to see now what it
Mm.
plays like, knowing they end up joining up. Um, and then I really like the ending, of course, where Captain Carter and walks out. She has that moment where she kind of like looks at the
Yeah.
picture of Steve, and he goes, "Trust me, like the world needs Captain Carter." Natasha gave her that
Mhm.
smile, and she went forward. Like I like that moment. And then we get a post credit scene, and that was exciting. Did you not watch it?
There's a post credit scene?
Oh boy! So Kelsey, you're gonna go watch the post credit scene, and I'm gonna ramble about what I want to happen in season 2. And I will talk to our viewers. You go watch post credit scene right now, like really quick. Can you watch it really quick?
Uh,
Is it gonna take too long?
I mean, like, I have to, like, set it up. Should I just do it
Okay,
on my
in
computer?
in that case, you know what we'll do? We'll save the post credits talk for the very beginning of the next
Should
thing.
you just No, don't tell me. Wait, let me watch it on my phone. I'll watch it on my phone right now.
Okay. Kelsey's gonna watch it on her phone right now. I'm gonna actually remove her video, so she's on her own, right down there. I will add her back when she's ready to go in. Um, but yeah, like I'm just gonna riff to you guys because I think it's fun to watch Kelsey's reactions to things, and she didn't see this post credit scene. So in the post credit scene, I will not spoil what happened, obviously, because she can hear me right now. But I do want to talk a little bit about what I think season 2 is going to be because we know there's going to be more what if. This was not like a mini series, and it's interesting because watching this, it felt like this was its own story with season 1, and now for season 2, I'm wondering, does this become now different little missions that the Guardians of the Multiverse are going on, and the Watchers overseeing, like a Nick Fury, or do we go back to our every episode is something different, every episode is its own unique thing? Like I don't know necessarily how that's going to go. And I think there are two directions they could take with it. I think the more interesting one would be to continue with just these anthology one-off episodes, and then if you want to do another, like, what if the Guardians of the Multiverse had another mission, and then bring that storyline back? Only because I think the beauty of this series was that every episode did feel like its own unique thing, and it wasn't trying to be one big thing. But at the end, we see it does, and it does pay off. I think it was still interesting to see them all come together now that we've seen their own separate journeys, and to realize that the Watcher is a little bit more powerful, or at least more involved than we thought he was. On that note, too, Jeffrey Wright, I think, has just been the star, obviously, of the series because he's been in every episode, but I think his performance as the Watcher is very, very good. I really, really enjoyed his performance, and I think he is someone who is very underrated. I think a lot of people know him a little bit from like Hunger Games and have seen him in little things here and there, but I think this is the episode, this is the series that I hope more people in the mainstream get to find out who he is, and then he's able to get bigger roles and bigger things and bigger projects. Is Kelsey done? Is she good? Kelsey, you good? You're muted. Just let me know. I can't see your video, but I want to hear your thoughts. Okay,
You
I'll
can't
just
hear
keep.
me, but you can see me? No,
Oh,
you
now
can't
now
see.
I can hear you.
Oh, it's loading. It's loading right now.
Oh,
Disney
so you
Plus.
haven't played it yet.
No, I haven't played it yet.
All right. I'm gonna pop you
I'm
out
so
again. So I'll keep riffing. Um, Kelsey will let me know in the private chat because I have a private chat. She'll let me know when she's ready in the private chat. Just because with the videos, it's hard to tell sometimes because she's staring at her phone. I can't tell if the video's frozen or if she's done. Um, but yeah, so a lot of good stuff going on right now, Marvel wise. You got the Venom stuff. Go see Venom if you haven't read our review, obviously, or seen our review. Go check that out. I've been doing reviews for other things too, like Dune. I just did a review on. There are some MCU people in there. Obviously, Josh Brolin as Thanos. Um, yeah, just a lot of great movies out there. Go check it out. Marvel wise and non-Marvel wise. And she's typing in the private chat. Which is she done? Does that mean she's done? Let's see. Kelsey, you done?
No, I'm not typing in the private chat.
Oh, it looked like you were typing the private chat. Sorry. All right. We're going to still wait. I mean, this is the beauty of the show. And this is the beauty of an unedited show. For the reviews, I like to edit, like the movie reviews, I edit it up because I like to put clips in. But, for this, I was like, you know what? I want to make it, just live on air and kind of just get the feel of like the podcast and getting to talk with one another. So when things like this happen and Kelsey doesn't watch a post credit scene because Dylan's stupid enough to not let her know about it, because usually I'm the one who lets her know about it, he's got a riff. And this is my improv acting skills coming into play and just riffing and being able to talk to you guys so there's not dead air. And you're probably in your cars listening to this and you're saying, okay, like, let's just skip through this. But if you have made it this far, thank you. We're 38 minutes in. Thank you for sticking with us while we wait for Kelsey. So yeah, if I had to rank, let me rank these episodes. Why not? Because we were very clear we liked this last episode. I wasn't as hot on episode 8 only because it did feel like a setup for episode 9, but it was cool to see that multiverse watcher break. I think my least favorite episode of all these was the one. It was like right before Party Thor. I can't even remember what it. Oh, Killmonger. Killmonger. I just didn't like it because it was a character I love so much, and I didn't really get it. Like I didn't really get the point. I get it now more so, but I wasn't a big fan of that. Number 8, I'll have to give it to episode 8 because it did, like I say, feel like setup. Number 7, I'd probably put Party Thor because it was a lot of fun, but I feel like it didn't have that depth. Number 6, I'll put Captain Carter because it was a good introduction. 5, I'll put T'Challa because it was great to see him get his own episode like this. 4, I will put The murder mystery with Hank Pym, really like that. That felt like the most risk taking of the series thus far. Top three. Number three, I'll put this finale. It was really cool to see everyone team up. Number two, I'll put Doctor Strange because that had a lot of emotional depth. And number one, I'll put zombies because it was fucking cool. All right, it seems like she's back. Yes, she is. I just did my little ranking of the episodes, and I'll hear yours at the end of this. I riffed on there.
I heard that. That was pretty good, Jill.
Thank you. I
I
had to
just
remember
watched
all
the
the
end credit
episodes.
scene.
Okay, what did you think?
So sorry. Loved that. Oh my god. Because
Yeah.
okay, so one of my questions during episode 9, I was like, I think I like forgot what happened because I literally wrote down. I was like, I was like, what happened between Steve and Peggy in her universe? And it's because she's in present day. Steve stayed behind in the past, obviously,
Right.
because she sacrificed herself to the octopus thing. Um, so then I followed up with stupid question, don't ask that. So that's why I did not ask that. So now it's exciting to see that Steve might be alive,
Right.
but
So he might be alive.
he might be like evil Steve, like the
Or
Winter
he might be
Soldier.
zombie Steve. Who knows? Ooh. But
Ooh.
Kels, like, what are your? I talked a little bit on my expectations for season 2, whether or not they're going to really play into this multiverse team up, or if they're going to do another like anthology, kind of like every episode's its own thing, and then maybe revisit the multiverse at the end again. What do you think? Slash, what do you want in terms of a season 2 for this?
Like, if I want them to piggyback off of the previous episodes or if I just want new stuff. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like we could probably do a combination of both, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's
Mm-hmm.
stopping them? I mean, I would love for them to to like backtrack to the Gamora Tony Stark
Yeah.
moment to find out how they got there. Like maybe we do
True.
a whole episode on that. Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
do I know dare I say, maybe we do a better episode depicting like a what if story for Peter Quill instead of just like what if he never became Star Lord. I
Yeah, the
know
Dairy Queen.
I know that's like super lame, but like well that storyline in itself is super lame and obviously Peter Quill is not everyone's favorite Avenger, but maybe he could get a better storyline next season 2. But it looks like this end credit scene is like setting up
Something.
some follow-ups,
Yeah. Or
I would
maybe
and
Captain Carter's own series. Maybe they're gonna just spin off that one story. Who knows?
maybe. If
So
Captain
Kels,
Carter were to get her own series, though, I would not want it to be animated.
right? I mean, I feel like that might be the route they take, but who knows?
Maybe.
Also, these actors are getting older, but Haley Atwell will never age, so we'll see.
I will
Um,
also always watch a zombies episode, so if they just wanna like, go right back where we were with that, I would
mhm.
gladly watch a follow-up to the zombies episode.
Yeah, for sure. There are some stories, yeah, like you said, with even Peter Quill and like the zombies that like kind of ended open-endedly, where they can continue them. Um, so I have to run soon, only because I have other stuff to do. But just overall thoughts on this series so far, since we're done with season 1. Just like your overall thoughts and any last things you have to say about this episode.
You know what? I do wanna bring one last thing up, so thank you
Yeah.
for asking. So this was an original thought I had. I did see this on TikTok, but someone did point out that in every single, I know you didn't like this still, but in every single what if episode, not everyone, but I think most of them, if not everyone, Tony died. And we were
Yeah.
like, we're taking away from his big climactic death in Endgame, his big sacrifice. This is taking away from it. But someone theorized that the reason that he's now died in every single what if episode is because his death must be like an absolute point in every timeline, similar to
Ah,
Christine Palmer's death in
the
the
Doctor Strange
Doctor Strange
episode.
episode.
Hmm. Okay.
So I guess I'm gonna say that that's the reason why they did that, and they didn't just want us to, rub our noses in Tony's death this whole series.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good thing to end on because that could obviously be it. And like you said, like this series is over and we're back at the same point. Tony Stark is dead, no matter what timeline you're in, and it's quite unfortunate. If you had to give the series like a rating, I can't give it one right now, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say
Ooh,
so far, season 1?
season 1, scale from 1 to 10, I'd give it a solid 7,
Okay,
7.5. Had a
cool.
good time.
Yeah, I don't know if I could commit a number to it now, but I'd be somewhere in the same range. I think it was like not the best
You
series, but
committed
like
a ranking off the cuff So you've done enough
Well,
today,
well,
Dale.
that's the reason. Like, I can't. Like, some episodes were like 9s, and some episodes were like 5s or 4s. So it's like I need to average them out. I will
Right,
have that average
exactly.
for you at some point. But thank you guys so much for watching. Next time we will be doing our Chadwick Boseman movie club. And I decided those movies. I forgot to tell you those movies because I just
Okay.
had so much on my plate. But they are probably um, his most notable roles, only or not no most notable, but the ones that I think deserve like more of a look into his career and just the more well-roundedness of his career. So the first film we will be doing is 42. It is
Yeah.
the Jackie Robinson movie that kind of
Yep.
put him on the map. And then we will also be doing 21 Bridges from 2019. And that is not a very critically renowned film, but it is a movie produced or produced and written, I think, or just produced by Joe and Anthony Russo. So it's going to be
Mm,
interesting to see how he does on the Joe and Anthony Russo production. I have actually never seen this movie, so I also wanted to check it out. And then we
yeah.
were going to be doing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is the movie he got nominated for an Oscar for and almost won, but he did win the Golden Globe for it, even though the Golden Globes don't matter anymore. Haha, you suck, Golden Globes. Anyway, those are the three movies 42, 20. I always forget the number of bridges. 21 bridges? Yes.
21 bridges. You were like last time you were like 99 bridges.
42, 21 bridges,
21
and Ma Rainey's
not
Black
rainy.
Bottom. So that's what we'll be covering next week on our Chadwick Boseman movie club. Kelsey, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Kelsey A. Kilpatrick. You can find me on TikTok at Cause13, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cause Productions.
Cool. You can find me at Dylan_Randazzo at Twitter. You can find me Dylan Randazzo417 on TikTok. And you can find me here at the Dill Pickle Movie Network if you're watching on YouTube. We've hit over 100 subscribers and we keep growing every single day. We get a lot more every day because of New York Film Fest coverage, but we all want you to see this coverage as well because this is a fun pocket of the universe as well, a fun pocket of the multiverse. And we're on podcasts. So if you listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts, Google Podcasts, literally anywhere. I don't know where else, Stitcher, all these things. If you have podcasts, you can find us there. Please subscribe to us or follow us or whatever it is, or download us, whatever. Give us a review. Let us know how we're doing. What do you want to see on this channel? More stuff. Because we are down to talk about it. We have a little bit of time before Eternals and before Hawkeye, so we're going to be doing a lot of just like stuff in the meantime. So give us your thoughts on what you want to see there. Otherwise, that's my last words. Any last words, Kels?
Nope.
All right. See you next time, everyone.